additional takeaway.
Sorry.
No problem. No problem. Oops. Don't do that. So the Accountability Institute is a real story. It's one of those things that's a God wink. It just fell into my lap. Accountability has been part of my life since writing the books, Integrity-Based Communications, Using Truth to Get What You Really Want, and Integrity-Based Communications, Using Truth to Build High Trust Relationships. And accountability, the way Sam Silverstein explains it with his 13 books in his card deck, is it's not a way of doing, it's a way of thinking about people. It's not a transaction, it's a relationship. It's relational. So what is our definition of accountability? It's keeping your agreements to people. And for me, inspiring people to want to be accountable to be their best. And accountability in action goes straight to the bottom line. So we are responsible for our thoughts, and we're accountable to help ourselves and others to be our best, learning in every situation to learn, to grow, and to contribute. So here's what I would like to do is share verbally the 10 commitments of accountability. And then you'll begin to understand what I mean by relational as opposed to transactional. And you're going to be getting these in a digital format, thanks to our dear Tim. Relational commitment number 1. I commit to discover and realize my own potential and help others reach theirs. Number 2, I commit to truth. Number 3, I commit to live my values, which for me are honesty, curiosity, empathy, accountability, respect, and credibility. And I put all of that under the overarching umbrella of integrity. Relational commitment number 4, I commit to it's all of us. Number 5, I commit to embracing faults and failures as well as opportunities and successes. Number 6, I commit to sound financial principles. Number 7, I commit to a safe place. Number 8, I commit to my word is my bond. Number 9, I commit to stand with you when all hell breaks loose. And number 10, I commit to a good reputation. Now, when we live these, we are giving the grace that others want to do the same thing, because these are all positive things that bring goodness to our lives and goodness to each other. So when I think about my commitments as it relates to accountability, I lead people to reach their potential and to be their best. And where is the responsibility of the leader to effectively live this commitment? Well, for me, it's to mentor, to coach, and to walk alongside, to inspire, to encourage, and to celebrate. So what I wanted to go through with you is something I did this morning at BNI. And here we go. After the 10 commitments, this is one I love. Hire slow and fire fast. Why is that? It's to protect the culture of your organization. Your organizational culture is only as strong as what its weakest link is. But if your culture does not have, your culture does not have to have a weak link. All the work that you and your team have done up to this point can be undone by one single person who refuses to live the values or fulfill relational commitments. And I'm going to tell you my story about this. At the age of 30, I became vice president of communications of an international organization based here in Memphis. I'm gonna not name names because they're in the hereafter, but nonetheless, it was an organization that was making tons of money, but it was led by a CEO who was a bully. Has that ever happened to anybody in here? Okay. So this particular evening, I was supposed to be at an event that was really important. And I was the only female vice president in the organization. And I was the person who was the last one being debriefed every night. And I said to him, I did not sign up for this. And he said, why do you let me do it? Can you imagine that? Why do you let me do it? Now, believe me, lots of vice presidents, couple of executive vice presidents, they weren't the ones who were being debriefed at 8 o'clock on Saturday or Friday. So I made a decision and I resigned from that position a week later. And I never looked back. Thank you. So what I'm here to say is, if we are not willing to be part of the solution, we are definitely part of the problem. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Anybody else have a story they'd like to share where they were able to confront the bully? Nobody wants to speak on that one. Okay, yes, Joe.
I have, and like yourself, I've never regretted it. I've never regretted it. I had to make a decision for my own mental health as well as the services for my client. And just so y'all know, it wasn't anything recent, so I don't want to point fingers.
Mine's when I was 30 years old, so it's been a while.
I think Darlene unmuted. Yep, go ahead, Darlene.
You were talking about bullies. I worked for a bully years ago who had gone through 3 assistants, and they were like at the nervous breakdown stage. And I thought, I am strong, I can handle her. And I took on the challenge and she about crushed me. I ended up having to go to the ER, thought I was going to have a heart attack. And then I caught her stealing. And I reported her. I worked for a large organization. I reported her and they said, well, the amount she stole was only a few $1,000s. And so we're going to let it go because she brings so much to the organization. So, and then they told her that I reported her. And so she fired me and I filed a lawsuit against her and I ended up winning the lawsuit. And she had been my mentor before I worked for her. And later, after the lawsuit was over, she asked to meet me and she said, you're the first person that ever stood up to me. And I respect that. And she wasn't angry, but it ruined our friendship for sure. And I got my health back.
Good. Yeah. That's good. Yes, Mary Lou.
I entered into a legal agreement with someone, and I found out that they were a bully, and more specifically to women in general. And had to and worked to work through that and come out the other side intact, which took a lot. You know, we can't control what other people do, but we can control how we react
Yes.
and how much of their shenanigans, if you want to call it that, we let impact us. And when I look back at it, I think it was a good teaching ground for tenacity and for growth and standing up for myself.
Good for you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
So one of the things there are a couple of things that are going on. One of them is with Stratus Foods. Are you familiar with that company here in Memphis? They they were gonna have 20 of their key leaders go through the whole exercise of uncovering their values, coming up with their life mission and purpose, etc. Well, then, big change. And this is the one that's scaring everybody at the company. I probably shouldn't have mentioned the company name, but at any rate, my client, is going to be starting up an ERP, which is terrifying if you've never done it before. I mean, go take a look at it. It's overwhelming. But what he did was he took away the 20 leaders and instead pivoted so that I think there are only 11 that are each going to have a functional responsibility for standing up this ERP. And so one of the ways that Sam Silverstein, who's the founder of the Accountability Institute, one of the ways that Sam, I haven't opened this yet. Well, it's a card deck that's got pictures on it. And so the idea is that you have between 2 and 5 people at a table that are going through the cards. And let me see if I can get this.
Childproof.
So amazing, just beautiful cards. And the idea is that they pick up a card that's inspiring to them, and out of the 3 or 4 cards that they choose, they create a story about their values. So
That is so cool.
it is very cool. I mean,
Shall we define an ERP?
well, it's an enterprise-wide platform that covers everything that a company has to do, whether it's a small company or a big company. This, Stratus Foods in Cordova has right at 1,000 people.
Like a project management group or
Oh, it's yes. Every one of these people will have a functional responsibility in the ERP. So anyway, I just thought I'd share that with you because it was creative and innovative, and Sam brought together the first 5 of us who were certified as accountability advisors and the 2 who were still in the queue, and took us through the whole exercise. It was just powerful. Now, one of the things that makes it powerful is that if you are willing to share what it is part of your entity, your identity, your life mission and purpose. When we shared that with each other, it was teary because it was so special that people were able to be vulnerable and put everything out on the table and talk about what excellence looks like based on the story of their values, their mission, their purpose. And it's the kind of work that makes my heart sing. So, any questions? Anything you want to dig into? Yes, Jim.
So can you talk through about establishing those values, establishing that vision for yourself, and how, from an being an accountability coach, how you need to put measures in place to make sure that you live out to those values, to those visions?
Well, it's something that I work with all of the time. I mean, if this would be my favorite thing to talk about, probably for the rest of my life. And we often hear, I'm going to hold you accountable. And if you've got a rainmaker who is absolutely created so much business for a company, it's sometimes hard if you're not willing to be in this space to fire somebody, but they can ruin the whole organization, just as my unnamed CEO really literally ruined a lot of lives.
Yeah.
So walking alongside, one of the books that I have is The Accountability Advantage, hence the title. But also I have one that's called The Accountability Circle. And it's an opportunity for people to get together and go through probably less than an hour on every single aspect of the accountability advantage.
So in establishing those, we almost need to have a network, i.e. Talk Shop, i.e. BNI, other peers that can help us in envisioning that, but then taking those measures
Right,
to do it.
exactly.
Awesome.
And it's just like I started out by saying it was a God wink when it showed up. I mean, Sam Silverstein showed up in my email and he played a video. It was a webinar. And I was just, well, first of all, my father's first name was Samuel. My grandfather's first name was Samuel. And now I got an Uncle Sam. And I was so blown away by what he had to say. When John got in from playing golf that day, I said, I want you to meet somebody. I want you to watch this webinar first, and then I want you to actually have a conversation with him, because my husband is my partner. And it has been an amazing journey, and it's just begun. Yeah.
Shelley,
Yes.
we know your ideal client is a company, but us as individuals, I know you've offered like integrity-based living for smaller groups. Will you be working with smaller groups?
In BNI, in order to allow people to understand what it is that I do and have the experience, as you well know, and as you and Troy have done, you went through all 12 segments of Living on Purpose. But what I have done is at home, in my home office, I will invite up to 10 people who want to have the experience of walking through integrity-based communications, values clarification in a particular relationship, and then ultimately in what I now call work-life integration, because I don't think there's balance anymore. I just, yes.
Well, having gone through your Living on Purpose with Lynn, it was invaluable to me, and I still look back to some of the things that we did and some of the things that I learned, some of the things that you taught or helped us to learn. And if you've got that going on, I think everybody here would benefit by taking one of your small group classes.
I'd love to do that. Like I said, it makes my heart sing. Yes, do I need to wrap up?
How we doing, Joe?
We got about 5 more minutes.
Okay,
Okay.
Joe, I don't know, we took that integrity-based communication and we talked about bullying. I don't know if you remember, we had a guy running for a political office up in Tipton County. And his wife was just, whatever he said, she could not say a word. But by the end of the meeting, she stood up and confronted him. I mean, you remember that, Joe? You remember that? And she felt like she said, finally, I got a chance to say to my husband what I've been trying to say for over 20 years. And you talk about in an hour and a half, it changed that woman and it brought the respect back to that relationship. And I was real proud of what you had, because you encouraged her. And without that encouragement, she would have never got up in front of the group to confront him.
Thank you for sharing that.
Joe, I got to go on emergency mission, take somebody to the hospital, but nothing real fancy. But anyway, I thank you very much. I enjoyed it. As always, you're a special friend. Folks, the quiz starts next week. Thank you, Captain. All right, please, thank you so much.
Do you do any specific work with accountability or accountability circles?
The one at Stratus Foods will be the first.
Okay.
I just got certified in May. There are only 5 of us that are certified. 2 more are in the queue.
Through fearless living, we all have an essential nature, and it's the thing that we deny ourselves the most. And guess what mine is?
Accountability.
My.
Wow, that's like.
Well, and that's why it's
Well,
great to have
If you
someone.
deny yourself accountability, often you show up as being the most accountable person in the room because you don't ever want anybody to see you as being that, not being that. But you're not accountable to yourself.
Mm.
So, you know, I've been on a journey of learning what that means for me specifically. So I'd love to dig deeper if there's an opportunity.
Great. We'll find some girl talk. Some
Okay.
girl talk. Yeah, okay. Anybody else have a question? Yes,
They available for purchase?
they are. He has 13 of them. And I'll be happy to, let's see. That is not going to be in the handout that you guys are going to get, but I can give information to Tim and then he can disseminate it.
And your own book too.
Yeah, that's the book I was talking about.
Oh, well, that's on Amazon. You
Oh,
you
okay.
can go get it right now.
What is the name of it?
The one that I did in 2004 was integrity-based communications, using truth to get what you really want. And the one I did in 2014 had more of a business backing to it. It was integrity-based communications, using truth to build high trust relationships.
Can we put that on the Top Shop, the Facebook page?
Well, gotta talk to your Facebook.
Can we put that
mediator.
on the,
Yeah.
put the names of those books on there?
Can you send them to me?
Yes,
Well, maybe when we put your recording up, we can do that.
okay, that's fine.
Thank you.
Oh, and Shelley's been so kind, her email address is missing an R. They did not complete her full name.
Okay.
So please make a correction and I'm gonna take them home and do, how many do we have? 500? We'll put that little R in there.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any other questions before I sit down?
Anybody online have any questions for Ms. Shelley? All right,
Linda, we need to talk.